Here's what it looks like now. So this is my breakfast for the day. It's not very aesthetic, but it's sourdough toast with some scrambled eggs with spinach and some chili oil in. I put a bit of sriracha on top of the eggs as well, and then I've got some beans for additional protein, so it's a nice balanced meal. I'm going to do a bit of a reading vlog today. So right now I'm reading Broken Dove, which is number 2 in the Silver Elite book series. I think it is 2 of 2, and it's by Dani Francis. So right now I am 33% through. Now this book only came out, I don't even think even a week ago, maybe like 5 days ago maybe. So I'm trying to get through that because I also have the Ballad of Fallen Dragons, which has come out today, and that's about to arrive at some point today because I've got a physical book. Broken Dove's on my Kindle. So I want to get as much as this done as I can, so then I can finish it and start reading that one. But if I don't get the Ballad of Fallen Dragons finished in this vlog, I'll be finishing the second one. Sarah A. Parker, so she's doing a bit of a book tour, so that's not until the start of June though, so I've got a little bit of time to like get that all read because I think it's going to be a bigger book as well. Broken Dove is like 592 pages, which is quite long to try and bash out, but I am going to try and get it all done, and then like I say, if I don't get onto the Ballad of Fallen Dragons, I will do it in a different vlog. But yeah, I'm gonna bash out a bit of reading now. I've just made some, as you've seen, I've made some chili con carne. That's for our teas tonight, so our dinners, so meal prepping that. Yeah, so Broken Dove is the second book in the Silver Elite one, so it is just a 2-part book series. So I did really enjoy the first one, so to give you a kind of idea if you haven't read it, it's essentially you've got people with certain kind of abilities. There's like different kinds. There's like insight. Actually no, I'm not going to tell you that one because but there's different kinds of abilities, usually to do with like the mind and stuff like that. Different kind of abilities, and the people with the abilities have kind of been like killed off, and essentially people are fighting back. I'm not going to tell you what happens in the rest of it because that'll be a major spoiler. But in the second one, it's kind of like amping up a bit more, the stakes are higher, the things that happen at the end of the first one really amplifies the things that happen in the second one, because there's definitely like a decision point where you have to decide which side you're on, who's the worst of the two essentially, because no one's really better than each other, but who's the worst one that you'd want to like lead the whole country or continent or whichever it is. It's definitely interesting though, so I'm intrigued to see where it goes. currently now 44% through the book, so I'm almost halfway, which is really exciting. I'm really enjoying this. I think this might actually be like a 5-star read for me, to be honest. And I've got the other books arriving today, like this evening, so I have a bit more time to bash out. Obviously there's no way I'm going to get this finished for a few days, but the fact that I'm almost halfway through is quite exciting. Another thing that I want to talk about as well, so I don't know if anyone watching has like an old Kindle, but Amazon's like, so I'm heartbroken. Amazon's like stopping you from downloading books onto older Kindles, and my Kindle's like one of the earlier ones. It was my nana's that I got given, and like after tomorrow you can no longer download books onto these Kindles, so you can like buy them all and download them. But like what really annoyed us, right, is when I got an email, they were like, oh yeah, we'll give you a 20% off code off of the, like a new Kindle, but you can only use this for 2 weeks, which really annoyed us because they're benefiting in both ways. Because one, people will be buying books like I have, like absolutely buying loads just to get the Kindle stocked up before you can't use it anymore, like download any more books onto it. And then in another way, they're going to be getting lots of money from people buying new Kindle as well. So either way, it's a win-win for them, but not for us. So I'm really annoyed because there's nothing wrong with this Kindle. I don't like the new ones. I feel like they look too screeny with this. I don't know if you can see, but like I feel like it does kind of look more paper. Like on the new ones, I feel like they look too like much like screens, even because my boyfriend's got a new one and I don't like it, and it's so you have to tap the screen to change it, but then on this one there's like buttons on the side, and I don't know, I just feel like it's too techy for my liking. But I've literally downloaded so many books onto this Kindle, so what I'll go through later is all the books I decided to get. Like I think I must have like 50 books on there that I've downloaded in the past month, trying to get it ready. So this will last me years. And even if I do end up having to get a new Kindle once this eventually breaks, I'll have plenty of books to go on to that as well. But yeah, it's really frustrating. But at least there was a few books coming out this month, all before the end date, that I could get downloaded and read before I can no longer download. But I find it really infuriating, to be honest with you. But yeah, 44% through. I really like this book, so I'm really excited to give a little review. But yeah, I'll see you when I get further. Good morning. I didn't film anything yesterday because I was working, and then I ended up somehow like injuring my leg while walking home from work. So I was planning on going to the gym today, but I'm not going to do that because my leg is still in fact hurting and I'm not going to risk messing it up. But what I'm going to do is, because it seems to really get worse when I'm sitting down, so I'm going to go have a walk, get some coffee, and then what we can do is we can talk about The Boys series finale, because there's lots of thoughts going on, and it's a lot of like thoughts on the series finale, about like what happened, whether it's good or whether it's not. And me personally, like I'm not really having my opinion on it being swayed this time. Like I know with Stranger Things, it got swayed very quickly because I started listening to everyone else and people didn't like it and stuff like that. But yeah, this time I'm kind of quite set in my thoughts on it. So what I'll do is I'll go grab some coffee, go for a little walk. It is very gloomy and misty out there, it's a bit wet, but that's fine because I won't be out the rest of the day if I'm not going to the gym. So I'm going to go have a walk, grab a coffee, and then yeah, we'll talk about it. So let's go grab that coffee. So, a little break in the reading vlog here. So, we do have The Boys series finale to talk about. So, I'm just going to go over a few points that I've written down. I wrote out a few points, like expectations or predictions or whichever, before I watched it. And then, obviously, I wrote down the final feelings after I watched it. So, I'll go through our predictions right now. First thing is, where is Ryan? Seems like he's been forgotten. And gonna show up at the end. So it did seem like we hadn't seen much of Ryan this season. I feel like he didn't really add too much. Obviously, it's good that he was fighting back to Homelander, but I feel like there wasn't really much going on, and then I wasn't even sure if much was going to happen with him in the finale. Like, was he just going to show up at the end, beat up his dad a little bit or whatever? Another prediction, Starlight / the ocean creatures to kill the deep. Starlight's storyline's been really building up to her being the one to kill the deep. So I feel like that's going to be really important, and if she doesn't, then obviously people are going to be pretty mad. Butcher v Homelander, given, quite obvious. So now for our predictions on who was dying. So we've got Butcher, the Deep, Homelander and Stan Edgar, just because, you know, Stan Edgar is kind of like the start of it when we saw The Boys. Obviously not the start of Vote or anything, but he was like start of the issue. Ashley survives, so we did predict that Ashley would survive, just because obviously she's always to and froing about doing good, and then obviously getting shit on by Homelander, but she's always trying to do something good, so I think she might actually do something good and survive because of it. Where's Gen V? We've barely seen any Gen V people. They made like an appearance, I think halfway, not even halfway, like in the last few episodes we saw them, and I feel like they're not giving us much of them, especially now that the show's been cancelled. It's quite sad, really. And then final thought before I watched it was, can't see how it'll end in just an hour, so much to wrap up. Either they've planned it perfectly to a T or they've fucked it. Quite a few things to go over here. So, Butcher killed by Huey, but Butcher had nothing left. Oh, it makes me really sad. So Tara died, and Tara did actually, the actor died in real life last year, and I had a feeling they were gonna kill off Tara as well, and it made it extra sad knowing that Bentley, the dog actor's called, passed away last year. Just made it really sad. But yeah, so obviously Ryan didn't want to go with Butcher at the end. By the way, this will be all out of order. They're just my thoughts going through everything. But Ryan didn't want to go Butcher at the end because obviously Butcher's still a bad person, which I think was very good of Ryan to do that. Tara died not long, like literally like 2 minutes after Ryan said that to him. So Butcher obviously lost his shit. He's like, right, I've got nothing left to do. So he's gonna try and, you know, release the virus. Obviously, Huey tried to stop him. Huey kills Butcher, which I feel like is probably the best case scenario for Butcher's character, to be honest with you. But at the same time, Butcher did have a point about the fact that, yeah, they killed Homelander and stopped him, but nothing's going to prevent another soup from doing the exact same thing that Homelander did in a couple of years. So I thought that was interesting. Ryan went with which I thought was interesting, but I guess, you know, he's got a family, it's probably easier for him to fit in with somewhere, and Ryan was at MM's wedding with his wife, which I thought was quite nice. Kimiko went to Marseille and adopted that dog that her and Frenchie were on about, so I thought that was really lovely. Kind of didn't really show, like, had she actually moved or was she just visiting? I'm guessing she actually moved there, the dog was there as well, but we don't really know what she's going to do with her life. Huey and Annie are having a baby. They've got their own little business set up, having an audio visual shop, while also Annie, like, using that as a front for Annie to do superhero stuff, while Annie's also pregnant. So that's crazy. And we did pick up on the fact that Annie was wearing Starlight's colours, just in casual clothing at the end, so I thought that was really nice. Now this bit, which we predicted perfectly. The Deep was in fact killed by Starlight and the ocean creatures, so it's payback from both sides. And he, you know, super pushes him out to the ocean creatures attack the hell out of him. Very gruesome ending, by the way, but it was very much deserved because the Deep is a horrible, horrible person. How is Stan Edgar still alive and he's also back at Vought? So I thought Stan Edgar was going to die. This was between on my point, not my partner's. But I thought he was going to die because obviously, you know, the show started with him being in power and somehow he's back in power, which I thought was an interesting turn. I mean, like, a lot of it was set up for Vought Rise, and a lot of people think that it did kind of take away a lot of stuff from the series finale to set up Vought Rise, which it didn't need because, you know, The Boys shits on the idea of like the MCU and like so many things coming out about it and like so many like products from this franchise, and they're doing the exact same thing. So I thought that was really interesting. And then they also cancelled Gen V. So they bring out another show and then also cancelling Gen V. So there's a high chance that Vought Rising's going to be like half back in the day, half current. So then we'll see Stan Edgar like running Vought because obviously Soldier Boy's still in the freezer thing. Gen V cast didn't add much to it. I felt bad for them now that the show's been cancelled, thought it might be because of the virus. So when we saw that Gen V had been cancelled, obviously this was was it pre-seeing them at all? I can't remember if we saw them before it was or wasn't. But anyway, so when it got cancelled, we thought, oh yeah, they must have done the virus, so there's going to be no suits. That's probably why it got cancelled. Makes sense. No, they're still very much alive. The last time we see them is just them driving them people that they rescued away, and then that's it. It's really sad actually, and we didn't even get to see the whole Gen V cast. It was only 3 of them, mainly 2 of them, and it only equaled to like 2 minutes worth of screen time, which I think is really bad. The whole thing of season 2 of Gen V was that Marie Moreau was like controlling her powers and that she was going to be epic and she was going to like kill Homelander and all this sort of stuff. And then Starlight was like, yeah, she can't control her powers. And then Marie just doesn't do anything. I'm like, she's ultra powerful. What was the whole point of season 2 of Gen V if there weren't going to be an addition to the series finale and like have it some kind of epic conclusion? So that really annoyed me because it kind of feels like Gen V is pointless now. I also found it good that they did in fact circle back to the virus. It wasn't just forgotten about one, but to try to release it again. It wasn't just like, okay, we're done with that, let's move on to getting Kimiko doing the Starburst chess thing. One last shock value death for All Father. It was mental because it was done within the space of 3 seconds, so you didn't even get to clock what was happening before it happened, and the way that it was done, it was so perfect for the boys. Of course, you got one last blood bath in the face, and I have seen the behind the scenes video of that from Laz, so I very much enjoyed watching that. Final thoughts then. So wasn't as epic as made out to be. In the promos, so in the promos you see like Homelander from space, you don't really see that. You don't really see like an ultra snap from Homelander where he like kills loads of people. He did talk about it in his broadcast, but he didn't actually do anything. The ending, few shots and scenes and stuff, very much mirrors meeting Huey for the first time in season 1, which I really enjoyed, especially the phone call, walking down the street while his girlfriend, you know, got killed. But yeah, overall it was emotionally satisfying ending, but just didn't have that epicness that the promo hinted at. So it's alright enough for me. Obviously it's never going to be up to expectations as anything ever is, but I feel satisfied enough about it. But yeah, that's basically my boys review. I'm seeing Mandalorian Grogu tomorrow, so I'll continue the rest of my reading vlog and then I'll see you for that.